lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me.
After a dominating performance last week at the Iowa Motor Speedway, we stay in Iowa and go just a little bit up the road to Knoxville, Iowa, for the first ever Western States Racing League points dirt race. George Passo up at the booth with you tonight, joined with me by my partner in crime, the man, the myth, on the living legend, on the ones and twos in the production truck, giving you all the beautiful camera angles tonight. And that, of course, is Mr. Dave Riles. And Dave, you and I love me some dirt racing, don't we?
Listen, dirt racing is where we got our start here. And I mean, quite frankly, these guys tonight, from William Edwards there in the 888 all the way down through Jeff Schmeier, are here getting ready to get down and dirty in Knoxville, Iowa. And I'm excited. I'm ready to strap in next to you here for the next little while here as we get underway.
Absolutely. As practice underway right now. Now, the format's going to be a little bit different than we're used to tonight. They're going to be running heat races, a consolation race, and then the feature. Unlimited fast repairs. That's the beauty of tonight, because they know these guys are going to mess these trucks up. So unlimited fast repairs. 15-lap heat races, top 5 move immediately into the A feature. Everybody else is mired in alphabet soup. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with dirt racing, what that means is they're going to have consolation races after the heat races to get the final qualifying spots into the A feature. So from the looks of it, we're going to have one consi, and I think I saw that here's the thing, we're starting 24 in the feature. So that would be 9 to transfer out of the consolation race. I don't think we've got, we're so okay for right now.
21.
It looks like we're not running a consi as of right this second, but there's still time for drivers to get into the session. As the hot lap session is getting ready to wind on down. Now, the other change for tonight is we are going to be having 4 laps of qualifying instead of 2 and done. So these guys are going to have 4 flyers that they can use. The other thing I just noticed, and Dave, this is something you and I were talking about before we went on the air, they will be what we call farming the track. Whereas coming into the practice session, it was a freshly packed surface, but right now you can see that in the corners there's that shiny section. That's where the track has gone dry slick for most of the guys running on it. That'll move steadily up the track towards those Armco barriers on the outside retaining wall as the night wears on. But what they're going to do is they're going to farm the track just before qualifying, then they're going to farm it again just before the warm-up.
Absolutely.
So it should lead to some pretty good racing.
Absolutely. And right now I'm taking a look here at Bob Beltrami in that number 14 Toyota, and looks like he's having himself quite a night here, running around in 11th position in practice. And of course, the person that I'm also keeping a close eye on is a relatively newcomer to the Western States Racing League, Mr. William Edwards, in this 888 Chevrolet sponsored by ProCraft. And William has gotten himself all atop the leaderboard after laying down a 22.1 second lap. And he's followed by, of course, our points leader, Bentley Glazer, in his number 87 Chevrolet, sponsored by Gatorade. And a quick look at your season standings. And Bentley Glazer sits atop the season standings, next to, right above Ryan Steele, followed by Jeff Schmeier, Brian Barnes, and Carl Burke, your top 5. And I'll tell you what, the point standings are getting tighter and tighter as we go along here, as there's only 55 points separating between 5th and 1st, as Bentley Glazer has wrestled away that top spot from Ryan Steele. So he now has sole possession of first place with 337 total points now, and Ryan Steele trailing him by just 9 points as we get qualifying underway. As my partner in crime had just mentioned, this is going to be 4-lap qualifying. So for those of you that are used to seeing the 2-lap qualifier on asphalt, tonight we're doing 4, as we're taking a look at Wayne Hutchison on his first lap, as he's coming out and he's winging this thing around with what seems like relative ease as he dives down into turns 3 and 4. You see that catch fence there. And we're going to watch guys all night long getting that right rear tire just up toward that berm. And I'll tell you what, at this point, Wayne Hutchison looking pretty strong in qualifying, with Kyle McCartney, whose paint is still loading. And folks, if you do see any issues with paint schemes, iRacing.com did do an update today. So we are doing our best to stay ahead of the paint scheme issues, as the body styles on the Toyota Tundras have changed just a little bit. And I'll tell you what, they do look amazing, don't they?
They've updated all 3 of the trucks today. Now, granted, the Chevy and the Ford were just a grill decal change for the most part. But, yeah, they updated all 3 trucks today, which is, those of us that paint vehicles, we're pulling our hair out right now, because I was asked last week to do special paint schemes for 2 members of staff here for the truck, and once I get them done, I get the notification, oh yeah, no, we're updating this.
And we're taking a look right now at Christian Bishop in the number 26 Chevrolet, sponsored by NASA, as you can see that new grill decal on his Chevy Silverado. And we'll also take a look at the Toyota Tundra driven by Kyle McCartney. And I'll tell you what, these trucks look awful sharp as they as they turn their laps here under qualifying, as we can see James Campbell's paint scheme loading in here. They do look sharp, don't they?
They do, and I'm glad to see that NASCAR has gone back to looking more, at least in the truck series, looking more like what you could buy for the street counterpart. There was a while there where you're looking at the race truck and you're looking at the street truck going, how is that what I drive? But yeah, no, they've gone back to something that more closely resembles, its street counterparts. So the other thing to make note of tonight, Dave, normally we talk about the high I rating in the field on the pavement side of oval stuff, and we average normally around 37-ish hundred. I'm looking through the field tonight, and there's only one driver north of 2,000 for an I rating. And that would, of course, be the man that just jumped up to the top of the pile, Oliver Cordell in the deuce.
Absolutely, and Oliver laid himself down a 22.44 second qualifying effort in his deuce, and he is now followed by Christian Bishop in the number 26 Chevrolet. We're getting a look here at Bentley Glazer, again, our points leader in the WSRL. And Bentley laying himself down some nice laps as he keeps it a little loose going down the stretch here into turns 3 and 4. But we see that he's got this thing glued to the bottom where he's got to be fighting this left and right against this dirt tonight.
Well, that's the thing is, early on in the run when you've got fresh track, you can use that bottom feeder line to effectiveness. But and as he tags the wall coming down the back chute, that's going to cost that lap. But as the night wears on, you're going to see the faster guys running closer and closer and closer to those Armco barriers that signify where the outside of the wall is. But it's definitely something to be mindful of. We are going to see this track go dry slick as it always does. And something that you and I were talking about during, before we went on the air, they've got to be real careful of that lip that's on the inside of this track, where basically the pit road would be. And you can kind of see it as Schmeier's making his way around right now. You can see that real dark area to the inside of the track. That's actually raised. And if you put a left front tire on there, chances are you're going around. If you put the left rear tire on there, you and everybody around you are going around.
Absolutely, and I was going through some of the qualifying efforts tonight, and the 17 driven by Wayne Hutchison actually had caught that inside little berm there. As we're watching Jeff Schmeier post himself a sixth fastest time here with 22.78, as he's going to come out of turn 4 and get himself all wound up to come back down to the start-finish line and put in his last qualifying lap, as he is so close to that inside berm, which will upset the car significantly, and he swings all the way out, moves himself back down, and he's holding that bottom line.
And the 4 of Brian Barnes just reset quick time as Schmeier eats the wall coming down the front chute. That's going to negate his last 2 laps. But Barnes just clobbers one with a 22.39 in the 4.
Absolutely.
Good
it looks
grief.
like, oh my, and he gets himself up onto the berm here in the number 4 Toyota. And usually Brian Barnes is driving the number 4 Popsicle Mobile, but tonight it looks like he has changed that paint scheme to represent the NASCAR Hall of Fame, as, my goodness, he gets himself all kinds of a mess there on the inside.
If you'll notice, he's also running the color scheme to honor the men and women of the Ukraine that are fighting for independence right now.
Yes, and as I've mentioned before, our hearts and our thoughts and prayers are with those folks as they are defending their homes and their livelihoods. I mean, we can definitely call what we complain about on a daily basis first world problems when my internet doesn't work right, or iRacing had a big update these people are huddling in subways, holding their cat, hoping that they can be safe for the next couple of hours.
Right, and I had to laugh during the first few days of whatever you want to refer to that deal as. I would say war, but yeah, okay, we'll call it a war. The first few days of that, there were Russian tanks that were running out of fuel, and the crews would be kind of away from the vehicle. Russian farmers were running up, hooking up the tanks, and driving off with them on in their tractors.
Look,
so Ukrainian farmers.
40. If you're going to plow the North 40, you might as well do it in something that looks like a Panzer.
Oh, I just found it funny that nobody thought to stay with the tank.
Well, I mean, where do you keep the keys? Who gets the keys?
The tank commander. No, the tank commander.
That's where the term tank top comes from?
I know I'm going to regret asking this.
Well, folks, here on ESPN, we are full of useless information, and tonight's first piece of useless information is the history of the tank top. During World War II, when cavalry became mechanized in large portions instead of what they had during World War I, it gets hot inside of a tank, so guys were cutting their T-shirts down with no sleeves and cutting it into, the A-frame kind of pattern that we're used to seeing. So that style that they had created for themselves became the tank top.
Or as we refer to them in the sticks out here, wife beaters.
That's correct. And today, I guess the fine folks over in Ukraine are calling them Russian beaters.
There you go. I set them up, you knock them down.
So it looks like everybody except for Richard McClure in the number 84 Chevrolet has qualified. And your qualifying order starts with Brian Barnes. Let me see if I can pull this up here.
Well, wait till they show what the heat races are going to be, but
oh yeah, currently doing.
Well, it'll auto sort here in about 20 more seconds. Do want to thank everybody for joining us here tonight for the Western States Racing League Great Smoky Mountain 2. That ain't right. I'm wrong. For the first dirt race that the Western States Racing League has ever done here in iRacing for points. So this is going to be a fun one, as first heat race, looks like we are doing 2 heat races with no consi. Or are we doing a consi? We'll find out. But
the drivers are gritting up here, and in this first heat race, it's going to be led by Brian Barnes in P1, followed by Christian Bishop in that number 26 Chevrolet. I'm getting their driver info pulled up here for you. Followed by William Edwards in the 888, then followed by that double deuce of Jeff Schmeier and his Ford machine. 5th position is going to go to Dennis Fuson. Outside of that row is going to be Paul Crumry. Wayne Hutchison in the number 17 Toyota, starting in 7th position here with Charles Woods in the number 40 United States Postal Service Chevrolet in 8th position. 9th will be Wayne Fleet in the number 6 Ford, followed by James Campbell in the number 18 Ford, and rounding out these first 11 cars in this heat is going to be Richard McClure. Still has not gotten himself a lap yet. But
he actually has decided to call it a night early. Not even going to try it. So 15 laps of scheduled distance, top 5 immediately transfer into the A main. We're going to have yet to see if we are going to run a consi or not. I would say no, with only 21 trucks being here. But yeah, definitely is going to be a fun one here tonight. This is going to set the inside line for the starting grid. So all of the odd-numbered positions are going to come out of this heat. Even-numbered positions are going to come out of the second heat. As field worked its way down the back straightaway, I believe lights are going to go out on the pace truck this time by. Yes, they are out. Okay, so Barnes going to have the button. Now, the way dirt racing works is once the pace truck clears the start or the racing surface, the leader can fire anywhere from the entrance of 3 to the exit of 4, at which time the green flag will be in the air. As the pace truck clears the surface, Barnes immediately jumps on the loud pedal, and we are underway for heat race number 1.
And we see Brian Barnes getting himself out to a nice, comfortable lead, which is going to allow him an opportunity to get himself hitting his marks here.
Oh, Crumrye's around.
Followed, my goodness, Crumrye just got himself all kinds of wrong. Let's take a look there. And we are staying green.
But yeah, Crumrye had a lot of help with that little spin there, but he did catch the inside berm, and that kind of started it. He was trying to save it, and then I didn't quite catch who it was that finished him off, but
it looked like the number 17 car driven by Wayne Hutchison, who's now running in 7th position after that dust up, unintended, with Paul Crumrye. And we see your race leader is still Brian Barnes as we have 13 laps to go in this first heat. Taking a look here at William Edwards. William Edwards, relatively new to the WSRL in what, as far as we can tell, is his first start here. And he is getting it all kinds of around with no problem whatsoever.
As Christian Bishop just throws it to the lead.
Yes, sir.
Good drive on that low line.
Let's take a look and see how it was that Christian Bishop came to be our new race leader. As he gets himself set up on the inside of Brian Barnes and just takes the spot away with almost no resistance from Brian Barnes here in the early goings of this heat race, with now 11 laps to go.
Now you can see these guys are using the low lane here in this first heat race. Luckily, they're going to give them a warm-up session before the A feature to help guys get a new handle on the track of where they can run, where they have to run, any last-minute adjustments they need to make to get some quick laps in. But we're following this race for the lead, as this is going to be one of our closest battles on track.
Absolutely, and it looks like James Campbell just had to hop himself into the pits. And as he had got himself in there to the inside wall, as Christian Bishop and Brian Barnes are duking it out here, leading this race, going 1 and 2, as they've simply traded spots from where they started. Christian Bishop in that number 26 ProCraft Chevrolet, turning laps here. So far, his fastest lap is 22.44 seconds, followed by Brian Barnes, who's now trying to hold off William Edwards going into turns 1 and 2, as Barnes gets himself onto that inside berm, while William Edwards holds himself a little bit higher, keeps that traction underneath his truck and keeps that pedal down.
If I'm going to go out on a limb, I'll say Bishop and Edwards are probably teammates, considering they're running the same sponsorships on those trucks tonight. As Jeff Schmeier lays down quickest lap of the race so far, 22.43. Sitting back there in the number 4th position, Dennis Fuson has the last transfer spot directly into the A main, as he's got right around a half a second and starting to pull on Charles Woods, as Woods has a little bit of problems. Fuson actually starting to stretch his legs there in that Tito's Vodka number 11. As we are in the, we'll be 5 to go this time across the stripe for your leader, Christian Bishop.
Absolutely.
Barnes back to the point.
Yes. Well, SDK is still showing Barnes. They're duking it out up here for the lead as Brian Barnes now gets himself around Christian Bishop. And he is just going to start laying it down, but they're not done yet.
No, they certainly are not. But Barnes using that cushion just inches. And there's something wrong with timing and scoring.
I'm going to have to agree with you there. With 4 laps to go, it's showing that Barnes is now running in 3rd behind. There was some net code there with the 6 car driven by Wayne Fleet. who's actually a lap down, and timing and scoring is showing Bishop being your leader, followed by Edwards now, which is incorrect for those of you at home.
Yeah, something's...
Just something that I've experienced personally in heat racing. Timing and scoring has a tough time doing heat racing. I can't explain it. It's something in software. I had this incident happen during a Daytona heat race back in February for an Xfinity League, and those guys over there, I was staring at my screen, and it kept telling me the wrong thing. So that'll get all sorted out by the time we get to the feature race here tonight.
Well, it's popsicle sticks in the air. White flag now coming out for your leader, Christian Bishop, in that Procraft NASA number 26 Chevy, as he resets that quickest lap of the race, 22.42. Major lead over William Edwards, almost the length of the back straightaway. To the good for Bishop. As the slugfest continues, Barnes able to get by Schmeier. Schmeier dive bomb going into 3. Slides up the racetrack, has to collect it. Bishop going to come home with the victory. Edwards, Barnes, Schmeier, and Fusan getting the final transfer spot directly into the A main. We are going to yet to see if they are going to run a Consi here tonight. Safe money says no. But, yeah, Christian Bishop just laying one down there. Barnes led a good portion of it, but as the track started to slick off, he started to have more and more problems. Heat race number 2 getting ready to line up now. Oliver Cordell, Bentley Glazer going to roll off on the front row of that one. Kyle McCartney, Jeff Hollingsworth in row number 2. Bob Beltrami and Theo Bishop, which I believe it's Bishop's first start with the league as well, going to be rolling off in row number 3. Andre Silva, Savala rolling off inside of Keith Kellman in row number 4. Starting shotgun on the field in row number 5, Dave Rudd and Carl Burke.
And we're still waiting for our P1 position here, Oliver Cordell, who has now missed gridding.
Oh,
Kind of an interesting development here, as Bentley Glazer will now start on the pole.
He, for some reason, put it on the hauler.
Well, that's interesting, and especially here, this is a pretty unique race overall. This is Western States Racing League's first official points race on the dirt surface here in Knoxville, Iowa. And this track itself is fairly historical, as you and I were talking about, together pre-race off air. And this track itself was actually built in 1878. It was originally built for horse racing. This is definitely a different kind of horse.
Very much so, and a lot more of them under the hoods of these trucks here tonight. But one of the first purpose-built racetracks in the country, whereas most of the time they just used a farmer's field or something along those lines. And you mentioned that there was a football game that used to be played here in the infield.
Absolutely, and I guess you could be betting on football. It was high school football played on the infield and then racing on the outside. So, as we discussed earlier, you could be betting on football and horse racing and not even leave your seat, as we are green flag racing in heat number 2 now, with Bentley Glazer getting around Kyle McCartney, trying to wrestle that P1 away from him. And he gets himself a little loose here as he's fighting those wheels, and you can take a close look at that, as he's now trying to get himself reset. And oh my goodness, it looks like Glazer was all kinds of loose on the high side there. Definitely not a lot of grip here at the beginning of this heat race in that high line.
Well, he jumped the cushion coming off of 4. Just a little too much go fast pedal. And as he and McCartney getting just a little bit of contact going into 3. Side by side they go, but the battle right now is hot and heavy between Bob Beltrami and... Come on.
Well,
thanks,
right
SDK.
Now, that's fantastic. And right now, Jeff Hollingsworth is chasing down Bentley Glazer, desperately looking for that P2, as these guys have wound it all the way through here with 13 to go now. and
Yeah,
number 12.
absolutely.
I'll tell you what, tonight, if you're just joining us on ESPN, you're watching us live on YouTube. This is the Western States Racing League, live in Knoxville, Iowa, on iRacing.com. I'm Dave Regal, alongside Tony Trapasso. Here we are brought to you by the Premier Racing Setup Shop. That's Premier
we're not.
Racing.
Not anymore.
Oh, all right. Then we will get that corrected.
Do you need to thank our good friends over at Cast Iron Outdoor Cooking Network, as they are allowing us to actually bring you the footage here tonight. So thank you, folks over there.
Kyle McCartney and Bentley Glazer going at it, as Bentley Glazer had himself a loose race truck a few laps ago, now working the inside of Kyle McCartney, and now the outside as he swings it around here going into turns 1 and 2, and he is hot on the trail of Kyle McCartney. These two are going to be going at it all night, but it doesn't seem like Glazer can hold it steady coming out of turn 2 as they go down the backstretch, which is definitely not very long here tonight, as he has now gotten himself resettled as they cross the start-finish line with 9 laps to go.
And you can see just how slick that low lane is starting to get. McCartney was wise and put his right rear tires up just into that first cut of fresher clay. Now up on the cushion as Glazer throws it to the inside. Glazer fighting that truck coming off the corner. McCartney going to use the head of steam coming off the berm, or off the cushion, I should say, as Glazer's still in that slick stuff, not wanting to come off the bottom yet. You know, and that's the thing. You're going to see the guys that have dirt experience, you're going to see them hunting all night long to try to figure out where they need to and where they want to put that truck to be as effective as they can.
Absolutely, and McCartney getting himself quite a lot of distance between himself and Bentley Glazer, who's now trying to hold off Jeff Hollingsworth in his number 97 Chevrolet, as these Chevys are chasing down Kyle McCartney and his Toyota Tundra, and we are winding down slowly with 5 laps to go here, as these 3 trucks are going to be racing to that checkered flag. And we look a little bit further back here at Theo Bishop in his number 36 and Andre Savala, who would be just barely missing that automatic transfer spot to the A main.
Yeah, it's going to be unfortunate for Andre, but you know, everybody should qualify for the A main because they're taking 24 in that piece. And we only had 21 trucks show up. Currently, there's only 19 left in the session. As we are 3 to go, as Glazer closes back in on McCartney, and you know, McCartney isn't blistering laps, but he's consistent, and you know, he's doing what he needs to do to make sure that he can keep Glazer behind him. Glazer going to have 2 more shots at him. 1 mile to go, 2 laps here at Knoxville.
Absolutely, and so far the way it looks here as we look at Theo Bishop, that last transfer spot for the A feature here, and we're going to work our way back up through the field with Bob Beltrami running in 4th, Jeff Hollingsworth in 3rd, Bentley Glazer in 2nd, and your heat leader is Kyle McCartney as he's getting ready to bring it around here with the white flag. Glazer chasing McCartney down to see if he can get that P1, but I just don't think he's got it here as we go into turns 3 and 4. Glazer not having a whole lot of luck here as he gets almost 90 degrees and gets up on that berm, hops the truck and rubs the inside wall.
Just missing that concrete.
My goodness, McCartney gets himself the heat win here over Hollingsworth. Glazer,
I was going to say, Jeff Hollingsworth saw what was going on with Glazer and just gassed it on the outside lane and was able to steal 2nd from his teammate.
Absolutely, and that'll wrap up the heat racing as we are going to have a little bit of a break here as we get ready to grid for.
Well, they're going to be doing, from the looks of it, are we doing the warm up is the question.
Showing in my scoring.
Well, there you go then. So we are going to be doing the warm up, and we will go through the starting grid here in a little bit. But Dave, just so much history at this track.
Absolutely, and one of the other things that I've noticed here, as I'm looking at the timeline, it looks like there was in '91 was the first year of the 360 Nationals, and now 360s had been around for a little while. At that point, they've been here since 1983. The 360 sprint cars began here, and as I'm looking down through their timeline, Brian Stickle is their most recent GM and promoter here, and he has done a heck of a job, especially getting the NASCAR Gander Outdoor Truck Series on a regular scheduled visit to Knoxville, Iowa.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was a big coup to wrestle that away from Eldora, but the fact that you have a premier NASCAR division that comes to this facility, I'm very much looking forward to this year's race. Last year there were a little bit of growing pains, as would be expected coming to a new track. But the way you need to look at this track is it's like a shorter Milwaukee Mile. If you shorten the straightaways up and narrow the turns up just a tick, not a lot, just a tick, you basically have a clayed over Milwaukee Mile kind of feel to it. So those guys that know how to get around a flat track will have the advantage here, and the guys that are in the Gander Mountain Truck Series Gander Mountain Truck Series that have dirt experience, of course, are going to be up to the front here. As in the recent years, one of the names to mention is I know you've seen him run at Big Diamond, is Stuart Friesen, who you put that kid in anything on dirt and he's going to be fast.
Absolutely. And as we are winding down warm-up, we do just want to take a quick break here, and we will be right back. And folks, we want to welcome you back to Knoxville, Iowa, where the Western States Racing League is going to be taking their first time here in an official points race tonight on ESPN, brought to you by the premieradmin.com setup shop. And we are proud to have them as a sponsor. Folks, if you're one of those guys like myself who, you work a full-time job, you have a wife and a couple of kids at home, you want to make sure that you still have a setup if you're racing in an open race. Open being, of course, the type of setup. There are two different types of racing on iRacing.com, both open and fixed. And open, of course, means that you can make your own changes. You can set your car up, your chassis up the way that you'd like it. And if you don't have time to do it yourself, Premier Racing Setups is the place to go. And they have an entire stable of setup builders and guys who are working on this day in and day out. And we just want to take the time to thank them for being our sponsors on ESPN and Sim Racing Media. And
yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, too, on that point is, you have, looking for an independent individual setup for yourself. If you're a league owner and you want a setup other than the iRacing, air quotes, stock setup that iRacing provides, that's going to be a little bit more racy, Premier is where you need to go to, get setups for your league as well.
Absolutely. And we're going to take a quick look here at our starting grid tonight from Knoxville, Iowa. Your pole sitter is Christian Bishop in the number 26 Chevrolet, followed by Kyle McCartney on his outside. Then inside of row number 2 is William Edwards in the 888 Chevrolet, followed by Jeff Hollingsworth on his outside in the number 97. Brian Barnes is going to be starting 5th with Bentley Glazer in 6th alongside of him. Jeff Schmeier on the inside of row 4, driving that double deuce Ford that we have come so well to know. And on his outside is going to be Bob Beltrami in 8th, followed by Dennis Fuson in 9th, Theo Bishop in 10th, and Charles Woods in 11th. Tony?
Andre Savalia going to be rolling off inside row number 7. Outside row number 6. Inside row number 7 is going to go to Wayne Hutchinson. He's going to be joined with the 7 of Keith Kelman. Carl Burke and Dave Rudd rolling off in row number 8. Row 9 sees Wayne Fleet and looks like Paul Crumry electing to pit start. Those are the 18 trucks that are still left in the session. Oliver Cordell, James Campbell, and Richard McClure all have put it on the hauler early. As the lights go out on the Chevy Silverado pace truck, the official pace truck of iRacing, ladies and gentlemen, you wanted the best, you've got the best. The often imitated, never duplicated Western States Racing League. As the field worked its way down the back straightaway, Bishop on the inside lane gonna have the button as they work in the 3 and 4. The only thing that's really left to say is wipe the visor, adjust the 5-point safety harness, make sure that steering wheel's on nice and tight, because race fans, it's showtime!
Christian Bishop leads the field down into turns 1 and 2 with Kyle McCartney in hot pursuit, and right behind the two of them is William Edwards in that 888 Chevrolet, making what we, as we discussed earlier, what could be his first start here in the Western States Racing League. And WSRL is an amazing place to watch some races. This is a fixed setup league, so this is all about skill. Everybody's set up the exact same way. And these guys are going to be duking it out left and right here as Bob Beltrami working the inside of the double deuce of Jeff Schmeier, followed closely by Charles Woods in that number 40 United States Postal Service Chevrolet.
Yeah, Woods giving Schmeier everything he can handle right now. It's Schmeier on the high side using some of that cushion as it looks like Woods just slid up going into 1. Just that truck did not want to turn. As now Schmeier takes it to Beltrami going into 3 and 4. This is your battle for 5th right now as Beltrami slides way up the track, fighting it on that outside lane. And unfortunately, Bob's going to lose 2 there. And right behind them, the battle is hot and heavy for 7th. 8th.
And as we keep moving back through the field, Wayne Hutchison is up 4 positions already in this piece in that number 17 Toyota. And he is followed by Dennis Fuson in 10th. They are side by side. There is action all over the racetrack tonight. And it doesn't seem like there is a boring place on the track as nobody's running all by their lonesome.
Well, the only 2 guys that are actually starting to, or the only guy that is starting to run by his lonesome, are the 2 guys up front. That's Christian Bishop in the 26, William Edwards in the 888. Those guys are 2 1/4 seconds up the road to that battle between Glazer and, well, they're working their way around the lap truck that is Carl Burke right now. But that battle is hot and heavy between Glazer, McCartney, and Schmeier as Burke into the outside retaining wall Good grief, that's not a good sign for the 53.
Absolutely
And something
not.
for the Hollingsworth.
Well, let's take a look here at Hollingsworth as he has now dropped all the way down to 16th position, and looks like he's got this 97 machine all kinds of wrapped up. As just taking a quick look at the 53 car, who gets it all wrong and gets into that inside guardrail. Folks, we're going to see that a lot tonight here at Iowa Speedway, at Knoxville Speedway in Iowa. And Christian Bishop, your race leader, now chasing down Paul Crumry in the 15. And Christian Bishop making quick work of the field with only a half mile to do it every time around, as he's going to work the inside now of the 15 and the 7, a 2-for-1 sale. And the next car in his sights is going to be Wayne Fleet in that number 6 Ford, as he's getting out of the way and letting Bishop just dig into this dirt.
Absolutely, 2 3/4 seconds to the good for Bishop over his teammate, William Edwards. Closest battle on track still remains the 4 of Beltrami. Sorry, the 14 of Beltrami and the 4 of Barnes, as those guys have not let up an inch since that green flag has come out.
No, and I'll tell you what, one of the things that I've noticed here over the last several weeks of working with you here in the WSRL is these guys seem to be running the same, together all the time. It's usually, the usual suspects are Jeff Schmeier, Kyle McCartney, and Brian Barnes, with Bob Beltrami in that mix. And they work together, they race together here, and they just always seem to be near one another on the racetrack, even if they're not up front.
Yeah, very much so. And it usually is, as you said, the usual suspects up towards the front. And the one name we did forget to mention was Ryan Steele, who came into last week tied for first in points with Bentley Glazer, who, after that dominating performance, just wrestled the points lead away. And now Glazer looking for another podium finish. So, the question is, does anybody have anything for Christian Bishop here tonight? As, Glazer doesn't seem to be as comfortable as he is on the paved side of things. Now, I do know he's been running a ton of dirt content over the last year or so, but, definitely doesn't have the same prowess on the dirt as he had in on the pavement side.
Absolutely, and now Bentley Glazer is starting to creep in here on William Edwards in that 888. The 87 Chevrolet, sponsored by Gatorade, closing in on him ever so gently as we see him getting loose coming out of turn number 2. And folks, if you're just tuning in, I'm Dave Regal alongside Tony Trapasso here in the broadcast booth. You're watching the Western States Racing League on ESPN. If you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe. Turn on those bell notifications so that every time we go live, you can be tuned in and watching these guys going at it week after week after week. And give us a shout out there in that live chat for who you're pulling for tonight, as we see that Beth Mills says, "Let's go, Schmeier." And Dave Rudd says that this is going to be nuts, and he's claiming
you're right.
Sick fast.
Absolutely. You're definitely going to want to hit that subscribe button and turn on bell notifications. We've got a ton of racing just coming up this week. We had triple header yesterday, triple header tonight. This is the nightcap of that, as big wiggle out of Glazer going into 3. Tomorrow night we've got a double header. The Ghost Racing League, they fire off at looks like 9:10 Eastern. And then you and I are going to be in the Way She Goes Racing broadcast. That one scheduled to roll off at 8:50 Eastern time. Round 3 from Vegas for that one. And Ghost Racing will be the Ghost 200 from Bristol. Thursday night, the only game in town is going to be the USRA TNT Truck Series, brought to you by TickleZombie.com. And that is going to be a 7 p.m. Eastern time start on that one. And then Friday, we've got the doubleheader of the Kool-Aid Monster Next Gen Cup Series and the iRacing East Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series. That is an 8:30 Eastern Time start for Circle B and a 9:30 for Kool-Aid Monster. We're off Saturday, but we've got a quadruple header on Sunday, triple header on Sunday this week, as the iFormula League is going to be off this week. But we do have an earlier start for the ISNF Cup Series, as they're running the Die Hard 500 from Talladega. That is a 3:30 Eastern Time start on that one. Then the Fired Up eSports League, the Fuel Cup Series, will be at 7:30 Eastern Time, and the nightcap will be the Sunday Night NASCAR at 8:30. So a ton of racing left here this week alone, as we go back to the action out on track right now, and quite a bit of separation starting to form up throughout the field.
Absolutely, and Christian Bishop's still your race leader here with 23 laps in the book already, because it looks like Charles Woods has gotten himself into a little bit of a mess here, and we'll just go back and take a look at it as we see him in that number 40 car, and we'll see what brought him down as he comes and gets himself loose on that inside berm, and he decides to go down and get that fast repair on pit road tonight here at Knoxville Speedway in Iowa.
It's like we mentioned during the pre-race. Get your left front onto that, you're going around. Get your left rear onto that, you and everybody around you are going around. So luckily for everybody near him, it was only the left front that he caught on that thing, and snap, see you bye. As we have 11 trucks still left on the lead lap. 10 trucks still left on the lead lap. Wayne Hutchinson in the 17 being scored as the last truck as such.
And we see Theo Bishop just seems to have gotten himself a little wrapped up here. Let's take a look back and see what happened to Theo.
Fourth now, Kyle McCartney, Brian Barnes, Bob Beltrami, Dennis Fuson, Andre Sabala, and Wayne Hutchinson, the 10 trucks on the lead lap. And that is your top 10 right now as they currently sit.
Theo Bishop must have been having some pretty big problems there, because as he came out of pit road, he had just pulled it right back to the inside and jumped into the pits. As we are at 23 laps to go, this race is ticking by fast tonight. And your points leader, Bentley Glazer, running in second position right now, up 4 from where he started. My goodness.
The 07 got it wrong coming off of turn 4 and actually got down into the leader, Bishop.
Let's take a look back there and see how we came to that point here, as there's so much action happening around the racetrack tonight. It's hard to keep it all in one frame here, as there we see the 07 getting it loose and coming right down into the 26 car of Christian Bishop. But Bishop is able to recover and keep himself running pretty well here at at Knoxville Speedway. My goodness, I don't know how many more times I'm going to blow that tonight.
Well, I mean, you're not wrong. It is Knoxville, Iowa.
I guess I just more closely associate Knoxville with a town slightly more to the south and east of Iowa.
I mean, you're not wrong. Knoxville, Tennessee is home of some great country music legends. But, just yeoman's work right now for Christian Bishop in that number 26. And Dave, if you want, I did put a GoPro on his helmet before we went green tonight, and I labeled his cockpit if you want to jump on board with him to see just how much his wheel is moving. And conversely, I did the same thing with Bob Beltrami.
Absolutely.
You see the difference between the two.
My goodness. He is working that wheel all the way around tonight, turning right to go left. And we'll take a look back here at Bob Beltrami as well. Wow, that's a lot of wheel work tonight. I'll tell you what, Christian Bishop, if he captures that checkered flag tonight, will have earned it very well. As we see Beltrami fighting it down the backstretch here, he's definitely a lot more gentle as far as wheel work, as he is closing in on Kyle McCartney and Brian Barnes in the number 4 and 19, respectively.
Well, Barnes just got by both Beltrami and McCartney to jump up into the 5th spot. And that battle still rages on between those three. As they've been doing that for the last, I'd say good 20 laps.
Well, we see Brian Barnes in the number 4 NASCAR Hall of Fame Toyota coming down here. And just as something to mention, iRacing did do an update today. You can take a look here at this Toyota, as it has a whole new kind of body style on it. Oh, and we saw the 17 going for a ride.
And that was the 45.
That was the 45, I'm sorry, of Dave Rudd. And
just getting it all wrong coming off of 2.
I guess I still associate the 17 with the Tide paint scheme. Maybe I always will.
Well, I mean, either that or the 5. But I can certainly see where that confusion would stem from.
I mean, I wake up confused every day sometimes. Fortunately, my wife takes care of me and makes sure that I'm pointed in the right direction.
Absolutely. And being as it is National Women's Day, we do need to thank all the women that are in all of our lives for doing what they do, so that, I mean, let's face it, guys, if it wasn't for the women in our lives, 99% of the time we'd forget our own head if it wasn't attached.
For me, I'd lose my own head. My wife is...
There you go.
She is definitely more organized than I am. If I lose something, she has an eidetic memory that can find it wherever I've put it down.
There you go, then.
And if you're just tuning in, we are on YouTube. This is iRacing.com and the Western States Racing League, brought to you on ESPN, part of the SRM family of racing. And we are brought to you by the premieradminsetups.com racing setup shop. And they are quite an organization, as they have an entire stable of builders here working on those setups that you see every week on iRacing. And they're filled with incredible builders like Bart Hector Jr. and Tyron Herbert, Cam Eben, and Brett Wheeler. So head on over to premieradminsetups.com and check out their offerings. And I was just wondering, Tony, as we're talking about sponsors, have you seen anything from Outdoor Cast Iron Cooking this week?
I have. Give me 1 second to pull that back up, and I will tell you exactly what was looking very delicious to me.
While Tony's looking that up, if you are watching us on YouTube, subscribe and turn on those bell notifications. Give us a shout out in the racetrack, in the
race
chat. Sorry, Samantha Dudash has put a heart there. I'm not sure who she's pulling for, but a tip of the cap to her.
Bog Crawlers bacon wrapped infused meatloaf.
You had me at bacon.
I know, right?
Tell us about it. That sounds oh my God.
I have no idea about it. It just looks delicious, and I'm going to have to watch the video after we're done here. That and the smoked sausage tortellini.
Oh, no, that's a different combination. That's interesting.
I know, right?
Well, we'll have to look at that in about 7 laps. As we have wound way down here, it seems like this race has just evaporated right in front of our eyes, as time is running out for Bentley Glazer and William Edwards to be chasing down Christian Bishop, as Bishop has opened himself a 7.5-second lead over Bentley Glazer. And it seems like Bishop at this point can just put it on cruise control, stay away from those lap cars, and bring home that checkered flag for his number 26 Chevrolet.
As it looks like Kyle McCartney's starting to struggle, as Dennis Foussan all over his tailgate right now as they take it into turns 1 and 2. Foussan looks to be a little more comfortable running that high lane. McCartney not quite as comfortable, is still down in that slick stuff, as now he jumps up to a little bit higher of a line. Exits low, though, and it's going to be nothing but wheel spin down there, as they both have to be careful because that's the race leader directly behind them.
You know, I don't even want to say it, but I feel like it needs to be said at this point in the race with 5 to go. We have not had one single lap of, let's just say, not fast travel. I don't want to say the actual C word, but the green flag has been hanging over top of this racetrack now.
That is
47 laps.
That is because automatic cautions are turned off. Only race control can trigger a caution here tonight.
Well, isn't that exciting? So we've had 47 laps of green flag racing here, and these guys are going at it here deeper in the field as Jeff Schmeier and Brian Barnes and Bob Beltrami have gotten themselves even a little bit more separated than they usually are. I know last week at Iowa Speedway, they were pretty much together most of the evening. As we are now 2 laps to go for Christian Bishop, he's got 2 more times around this piece to bring home this checkered flag, as he has now lost
White
a little
flag
bit of
in the air.
distance. White flag is in the air. This is the final lap for the Western States Racing League with your leader, Christian Bishop, in the number 26 Procraft Chevrolet, bringing it home as he comes out of turn 2, down the backstretch one more time into turn 3, right behind that number 19 car of Kyle McCartney. And I don't think he's going to get to put Kyle McCartney down another lap as he comes back onto the front stretch, crosses the start-finish line, and your race winner this evening is Christian Bishop in the number 26 Chevrolet.
Points leader Bentley Glazer hanging on for a second. Will Edwards in his first start with the Western States Racing League going to come home on the final step of the podium. Jeff Schmeier hanging on for fourth. Brian Barnes coming home in 5th. Bob Beltrami, Kyle McCartney rounding out your lead lap trucks.
And we see Christian Bishop, as he has had himself a great arm workout tonight, doing it one more time here as he's going to do some donuts here for the crowd in Knoxville, Iowa. And we will have him hopefully in the broadcast booth any minute now, as we will wait for him to drop into the race chat. So, folks, your unofficial/official race results are Christian Bishop brings home the checkered flag in his number 26 Chevrolet, followed by Bentley Glazer in the number 87 Gatorade Chevy. In third position on the podium, in what we believe to be his first outing here with the WSRL, is William Edwards in that 888 Chevy, followed by Jeff Schmeier in the Double Deuce, Brian Barnes in the number 4 Toyota, Bob Beltrami, Kyle McCartney, Andre Savala, and Dennis Fuson. Rounding out the top 10 is Wayne Hutchison in that number 17 Toyota.
Absolutely. An amazing racing all through the field tonight. There are different pockets of action going on all night long. And, relatively quick one here for the Western States Racing League. Again, first ever time for a points race to be held on dirt. So that was definitely fun. And we are going to reach out now to the man who just put on a dominating performance, winning his heat race and leading all 50 laps here tonight in the A feature. Congratulations, Christian Bishop.
Thanks, guys. It was a lot of fun.
So talk us through what your game plan was coming into tonight.
So mainly the goal was just to get ahead of all of the potential chaos that can happen on this track by qualifying well. I put in a pretty good lap. I was lucky enough to start on the front row of a heat and convert that into a win. So I got to start at the front, and that makes it a lot easier.
Well, you definitely had a Code Brown moment at about the halfway mark when you were working your way through some lap traffic, and the 07 bounced off the outside wall and got into you.
Yeah, that was definitely terrifying, but luckily it didn't seem to affect the car too much, if at all. And yeah, I was worried that I was going to see some effects from that one.
Now, Christian, we haven't seen you too many times with the Western States Racing League. Are you going to be joining us for the remainder of the season?
That is the plan. It's a very fun place to race. I haven't had a race yet where I felt like, it was anything less than super enjoyable. It's a great field. The administration seems like they know what they're doing. So I'm thinking I'll stick around.
Yeah, absolutely. As next week we go to another flat short track and the Milwaukee Mile. What are your thoughts going into that one?
Definitely not a track that I'm super familiar with, so I'll have to do a lot of practice to get up to speed on that. But should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to another different kind of track this week or this coming week. Variety is always a good thing.
Absolutely. Now, Christian, who do you need to thank before we let you go celebrate with your team here in Iowa?
Just my teammates. Two of which are in the race with me, Will Edwards and Theo Bishop, who had a pretty bad race. And also my family. I have a 10-month-old baby at home, so I'd love to shout her out. Love you, Violet. And the administration of WSRL for putting on a good show, and you guys for putting on a good broadcast. Thank you.
Now, just out of curiosity, how long are you going to wait before you put Violet in the sim rig and teach her how to race?
I've already been trying. She can actually grip the wheel, but she doesn't really know what to do with that yet. So we're getting there.
Give her another couple months. She'll be whooping your butt.
I hope so.
All right, Sarah. Best of luck to you next week at Milwaukee, and congratulations on the victory here tonight.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
So that was our race winner. And Dave, I believe you have our points leader with you now.
Bentley Glazer, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yep, I got you.
Hey, man, heck of a run tonight, but you just couldn't catch Christian Bishop in his number 26 Chevrolet. You had that Gatorade machine all kinds of loose. It looked coming out of turn 2 just about every time. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just really inconsistent, and the low line was like ice there at the end. So I kind of wish like the race was like 20 laps longer, and not because I don't think I was going to catch him, but I was just starting to run the really high line, and it was really fun. But then the race ended, so yeah, that was just really fun. I don't know if cautions were on or if we had wrecks or not, but
Manual only.
Green. All right, yeah, I'm glad we had green run.
Absolutely, man. And I mean, look, we were in your cockpit for a few minutes watching your hands work. I mean, you had your hands full of race truck tonight. I mean, the Gatorade mobile was definitely earning every bit of it. So congratulations on that. And I mean, look, it's funny, even a guy as talented as you are, when you say that you were inconsistent, you still finished second, So that's still a heck of a lot of work, and, the spoils of that will be here on in P2. Is there anybody you'd like to shout out?
Thank you guys for broadcasting. Thanks Western States Racing League, and thanks to all my teammates. And yeah, that was really fun. If I should practice more, because I was getting it on the high line at the end, I think, and I don't know, I was kind of overdriving there, but yeah, it was fun.
All right, man. Well, we'll get you out of here and back to your chat. So we appreciate you, as I believe Tony has William Edwards on the radio.
William Edwards, all things considered, can't be too disappointed with your debutante race with the Western States Racing League coming home on the podium.
No, that was definitely a surprise. These guys are really good, so it was good to be up there on the podium.
Well, you had a very strong run in that 888 truck tonight. We spoke to your teammate earlier, and it seems like you guys had some of the trucks to beat here at Knoxville, Iowa.
I think we put the lap time practice in. I mean, worked every line, found the right setup for the steering ratios and the offset of the wheel, and just kind of grinded out. And then I think it all boiled down to navigating lap traffic. That was the most difficult thing.
Yeah, that seemed to be the issue tonight. And again, we talk week in and week out about how on the pavement side of oval racing, the average iRating in the top 10 is around 3,700. Tonight, there was only one driver north of 2,000 starting in the field. So a lot of that has to go with, not having a lot of experience on the dirt side of things, or not as much experience on the dirt side of things. And I think that's really where, you and Christian really showed your prowess here tonight, is the fact that you were able to stay calm, get yourself through the lap traffic cleanly, and come home with 2 trucks in the top 3.
Definitely.
So the series moves to Milwaukee for the Milwaukee Mile next week. What are your thoughts going into that race?
I'm probably going to need a lot more help in that. Paved oval is where these guys are the pros, and so I'll probably be leaning on my teammates to try to give us some strategy and to maybe do a little bit of, line determination there, where we can save tires, where we can, potentially group up.
I'll give you a hint for that track if you don't have many laps there. It's a late apex for both turns 1 and 3.
All right.
But, Will, who do you need to thank before we turn you loose tonight?
Well, I think I got to return the thanks to Christian and the whole WSRL league. I, just enjoy running a deep pack, and everybody's been really friendly, and everybody tries to run safe, so that's good.
Well, the good news is there were a lot of guys that decided to use this as their drop week, not having as much dirt experience as they would like. So the field should be close to double what you saw here tonight next week.
That's what I'm expecting, so that'll be a lot of fun. That's the way oval's meant to be run.
Absolutely. Well, sir, best of luck to you next week. Congratulations on the podium here tonight. Go celebrate with your team, sir.
All right, thanks for the stream.
So, Dave, another one in the books. I know we don't get a lot of dirt content on here, so I know you and I were both excited to find out last week that we were coming here this week.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the first race that I've called that's on dirt, and I've done some dirt racing myself, but man, it's more exciting to watch it from here in the broadcast booth, hanging out with my buddy you. And at this point, it's in the books. It's going to be in the rearview mirror for a lot of these drivers, and being able to use it as a drop week is also beneficial. It still gets guys some dirt time experience, but next week we'll head back to the asphalt.
Right, and I mean you're going to see the usual suspects at the front of that field again. Your Glazers, your Glazers, your Hollingsworths, Schmeier, Steele should be back. Beltrami's going to be up there. Barnes is going to be up there, I would expect. So we're going to see a slightly different dynamic on track next week, but it's still Milwaukee, and you know as well as I do, that's a very difficult short track to get around.
Absolutely, and the Milwaukee Mile is definitely going to be some good side-by-side racing action here for the Western States Racing League. Brought to you live on ESPN, broadcast on YouTube, and if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe and turn on those bell notifications. Give us a holler, and get reminded every time we're live. And for myself and Tony Trape... Oh, you know what? We didn't go over the full racing results here.
You are correct.
As Christian, I got a little bit ahead of myself. It's early yet for those of us on the East Coast.
Yes.
Christian Bishop, your race winner in the number 26 Chevrolet, brings home the checkered flag, with Bentley Glazer, your points leader, in P2, followed by William Edwards in third in the 888 Chevrolet. Fourth was Jeff Schmeier in the Double Deuce. Brian Barnes in the number 4, finishing in fifth. Bob Beltrami in sixth. Kyle McCartney in seventh. Andre E. Savala in eighth. Dennis Fuson in ninth. Wayne Hutchison in the number 17 Toyota rounds out your top 10.
Fuson being the last truck being scored on the lead lap. McCartney being scored as the last truck on the lead lap in seventh. So that brings us down to 11th position. Paul Crumrye, Jeff Hollingsworth hanging on for 12th. Wayne Fleet coming home in 13th. 14th goes to Keith Kelman. Dave Rudd in 15th. Charles Wood 16th. 17th goes to Theo Bishop. Carl Burke in 18th, the last truck to actually take the green flag in the A feature. So for Mr. Dave Regal, this is Tony Trapasso reminding you, ladies and gentlemen, that as you walk down the road of life, please don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week from the Milwaukee Mile.